always thought the scariest things happened in movies until that night. That night, I realized that true horror isn't about monsters or ghosts. It's about the things that lurk in the dark corners of your own home, watching, waiting. It was a cold autumn night, and I was home alone for the first time in months. My parents had gone to visit my aunt in another city, and I had convinced them. At 19, I was old enough to stay by myself. I had a few assignments to complete and figured a peaceful weekend alone would be nice. Couldn't have been more wrong. First, everything was normal. I made some popcorn, curled up on the couch, and turned on Netflix. The house was eerily silent, but I ignored the uneasy feeling creeping up my spine. It wasn't until around midnight that I heard it. Soft, deliberate footsteps echoing from the hallway. My heart stopped. I muted the TV and listened. The sound came again, slow, measured, like someone was trying not to be heard. I lived in a single-story house. The only way in was through the front door, which was locked, and the back door, which I had secured earlier. The windows were all shut. So who was walking in my hallway? I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. The beam flickered as I stepped toward the hallway. My breaths were shallow, my skin cold with fear. "Hello," I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. Silence. Then a sound, a slow, rasping breath. Not mine. I froze. My flashlight landed on something at the end of the hallway. A shadow. It stood perfectly still, tall and unmoving. The air in the room felt heavier, charged with an unnatural presence. The hallway light behind me flickered, and in that split second, I saw it move. A slight tilt of the head, a shift of its stance. Something was in my house. Panic set in. I stumbled back, my mind racing. I knew I had to get out, but the front door was past the hallway. The only other way was my bedroom, where I could lock the door and call for help. I turned and sprinted to my room, slamming the door shut and locking it. My hands shook as I dialed 911. The operator's voice was calm, but I could barely hear her over the pounding of my heart. Then I heard it. The doorknob rattled. I slapped my hand over my mouth to stop myself from screaming. The doorknob twisted once, twice, and then a slow knock. 3 steady taps. I choked back a sob. The knocking came again, harder this time. I pressed myself against the door, my phone still in my trembling hand. "Please hurry," I whispered into the receiver. "Stay where you are," the operator assured me. "Officers are on their way." Exploration/development asterisk. Minutes felt like hours. The knocking stopped, but I wasn't foolish enough to think it had left. My ears strained to catch any sound. Then, something even worse. The floor creaked. Not outside my door, inside my room. A sharp gasp escaped me as I turned around. The closet. The door was slightly ajar, though I was certain I had closed it earlier. I was not alone in this room. A cold sensation prickled my skin as I realized my mistake. Whatever I had seen in the hallway, it had never left. It had been hiding, watching me. The closet door creaked open wider. I bolted for the window. Just as I unlocked it, my bedroom door burst open, and for the briefest moment, I caught a glimpse of something. Long, dark limbs, hollow eyes, a face twisted in a grin that wasn't human. I didn't think. I just jumped. I hit the ground hard, pain shooting up my ankle, but I didn't stop. I ran barefoot across the yard, not daring to look back until I reached the street. Flashing red and blue lights blinded me as police cars pulled up. The officers searched the house. They found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no footprints, no evidence that anyone had been there at all. But I knew what I saw. I never stayed home alone again after that night. My parents thought it was just paranoia, that I had imagined it. But to this day, I can't shake the feeling that whatever was in that house with me is still out there, watching, waiting. Sometimes the scariest things aren't the ones we can explain. They are the ones that slip through the cracks of reality, unnoticed by others. And the worst part? You'll never see them coming until it's too late. Have you ever experienced something terrifying while home alone? Share your stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more real-life horror. Stay safe and keep your doors locked. There's a certain kind of fear that only comes when you realize you are being watched. That night, I felt it long before I saw him standing outside my window. My parents had gone away for the weekend, leaving me home alone in our quiet suburban house. I was 19 and I'd stayed alone before, so I wasn't worried. The neighborhood was safe and the doors were locked. I spent most of the evening watching TV in the living room, wrapped in a blanket with the occasional glance at my phone. The house was eerily silent except for the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of the wooden floors. But as the night stretched on, a strange unease settled over me. And then, I heard it, the sound of something tapping against glass. First, I ignored it. Maybe it was just the wind knocking a tree branch against the house. But then it came again. Tap, 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 slow, deliberate, rhythmic. My stomach twisted. The sound was coming from the sliding glass door that led to our backyard. I hesitated before turning my head. The porch light was off, leaving the backyard in darkness. But as my eyes adjusted, I saw something. A figure standing just beyond the glass. I gasped and scrambled back, my pulse roaring in my ears. The figure was tall, unmoving, a shadowy silhouette against the dim moonlight. And then he lifted a hand and waved. I grabbed my phone with shaking fingers and turned on the flashlight, aiming it at the door. The light hit the glass, illuminating a smiling face pressed against it. His grin was too wide, his teeth bared like an animal. His eyes were open unnaturally wide, as if he hadn't blinked in hours. He didn't flinch at the sudden brightness, he just kept smiling. And then, without breaking eye contact, he tried the door handle. I shot up from the couch and ran to the front door, making sure it was locked. Then I checked the windows. All locked. The back door locked. I fumbled with my phone to call the police, but my hands were trembling so badly I could barely type. The moment the dispatcher answered, I whispered, "Someone's outside my house, trying to get in." "Stay on the line," she instructed. "Officers are on their way." I pressed my back against the wall, phone clutched to my chest. I expected to hear footsteps, the sound of him moving, but there was nothing, just silence. And that was somehow worse. Exploration/development. Minutes crawled by. My body was frozen in place, ears straining for any sound. But there was only the distant hum of crickets outside. Then I heard a creak, not from the backyard, from inside the house. I covered my mouth to keep from screaming. My eyes darted to the hallway. The door to my parents' room, which had been open earlier, was now closed. The air felt thick, suffocating. Had he gotten in? No, that was impossible. Every door had been locked, every window shut, unless he had been inside the whole time. A floorboard groaned. It was coming from behind the bedroom door. I forced myself to move, bolting for the front door just as flashing red and blue lights flooded my driveway. I threw the door open, stumbling into the arms of two officers. "He's inside," I gasped. The police stormed the house, guns drawn. I stood outside, breathless, waiting. They searched every room, every closet, under every bed, and found nothing. "There's no one here," one officer told me. "Are you sure?" And then his radio crackled. "We found something in the backyard. You need to see this." My blood ran cold as they led me around the house. A second officer was shining his flashlight on the ground, illuminating a trail of muddy footprints. Footprints that led up to the back door. But the disturbing part? There was another set of footprints, leading away. The police never found him. There were no signs of forced entry, no explanation for the footprints leading away. They told me it was probably some disturbed vagrant looking for shelter, but I knew better, because when I returned inside, my stomach turned at what I found on the bathroom mirror, written in smeared dirt. "Next time, leave the door unlocked." Have you ever felt like you were being watched? Let me know in the comments. And if you love terrifying true horror, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay safe, and always check your doors.